and welcome to BookTastic Live. We are super excited to have you here with us because this is our first ever live in-person BookTastic Festival event since 2019. So you guys are part of something amazing. We've brought it back. We're in schools, we're live, and you get to meet our authors direct and chat to them and ask them questions, and it's just so wonderful to be back. I'm so happy. I'm not sure how many of you in the room and in the other classrooms, because I know we've got around 7,000 children getting involved around the country. If you've been taking part this week, we've had an amazing programme so far. On Monday, we had Michael Mann, who was talking to us about his book, Ghost Cloud. We had Laura Ellen Anderson, who was teaching us to draw Nim the farting cat. That was quite good fun. Tuesday, we were live at Putney and we met Tola Akogu, who was telling us about her new book Onyeka and the Academy of the Sun, which was amazing. In the afternoon, we had Sophie Henn, who taught us all to draw pizzazz, and that was brilliant. And I saw so many great pizzazzes that were coming out of the audience and were coming from the schools that were doing it at home. So we suddenly discovered how many artists we have out there in our schools. Yesterday, we were chatting to Louise Stowell, who was talking about her book, Loki, A Bad God's Guide to Being Good. And we discovered that we have quite a few tricksters in and around the schools because they were all putting their hands up and telling us how naughty they can be. And then in the afternoon was the thing that I really enjoyed. We had Jamie Smart. Have any of you, do you know Jamie Smart? So do any of you get the Phoenix comic? Because we get that, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? We get that in our house. I love it. Well, he creates Lushkin and Bunny versus Monkey and Flember. So he was teaching us how to draw all of those and how to create our own crazy characters. But that's not what you want to know about. You are here today to hear about the amazing Harley Hitch and her incredible planet town adventure, and about the sci-fi fantasy adventures she has, and learn about all of her friends and all of the amazing adventures they get up to. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to hand you over to our first author of the day, Vashti Hardy. Big round of applause.
Thank you so much. Oh, do I need to turn anything on here? Am I okay with my microphone? I'm all good to go. Thank you so much. I love coming to Bedford. I've been a few times now. And do you know what I was just thinking when I walked in? I was thinking Harley Hitch would feel right at home here, wouldn't she? She would love Bedford. So I like to think when I'm writing Harley Hitch that she's got all these extended friends. So I like to think of you all as Harley's school chums at Cogworks today. So if you don't know my books, probably by looking at the covers, I'm on book 10 now. Book 10 is out, which is quite a few so far. I've been quite busy writing. And just by looking at the covers, if you don't know my stories, you'll probably see that I love to make things up. I love to make up worlds. I love to make up inventions. I love to make up creatures. I especially love robots, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more about today. And I love to come up with ideas. I find that your best stories, I mean, it's nearly the summer holidays, isn't it? And you know in the summer holidays where you have days where you're a little bit bored and you're thinking, I don't know what to do today, your friends are busy, maybe whoever you live with at home is busy as well, and you're stuck on your own. I used to love writing a story. Used to love coming up with ideas for things to write about. So I'm going to give you a few tips today that you can take away with you and use in the summer holidays to have fun and be creative with writing, because writing is not just about writing. There's so many other things that I do as a writer that you will find fun and different as well. So these are things that I do that I'm going to give to you that you can use in your own writing. So I thought I'd start by telling you where it came from for me, why I started writing about the things that I did. When I was your age, and I bet some of you will recognise some of these things, some of these pictures on the screen. Put your hand up if you recognise anything there. These were things that I used to watch when I was younger that I used to really love. Yeah. Star Wars. There's Star Wars. Do you know what? A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars came out when I was a little girl, and I loved it. The idea that you could go to another planet, have an adventure, you could have a brilliant princess who didn't need to be rescued by a man, she could rescue herself, was great. And when I was younger, we didn't have much money for going on fancy holidays or anything. So for me, being able to escape into a film or a book was like having the best adventure ever myself. So Star Wars was something that I loved. How about, does anyone recognise anything else there? It's a bit tricky to see. You might be able to see this one in the corner. Yeah. Oh, it's not Harry Potter, but that wasn't out when I was younger, but I would have loved it if it was. Yeah. It's a robot. There's a robot. This is called Metal Mickey, which some of the older members of the teacher, yeah, there's one in the back. Hurrah! Metal Mickey was this like family kind of robot friend, but I was obsessed by Metal Mickey. I thought, what a great idea. I'd love a robot in the family. And there was the Clangers, which I think is still on, Star Trek, Doctor Who. Put your hands up if you know Doctor Who. Wave at me at home if you know Doctor Who or from your classrooms. So Doctor Who had just come out. And I loved science and I loved invention. And I thought, you know what, one day I'd like to write my own stories that take children to other planets, that take them to different worlds. So sometimes when I'm starting a story, this is what I think. Do you ever, when it's a really dark night, and you know when it's cloudless, you go outside and you look at the stars, and there's thousands of them, aren't there, up there? I used to look up, and I still do, and wonder what could be out there. Now, here's a fact for you, a little sciencey fact. So, in our universe, so this is a snapshot of our universe from Hubble, and all these dots, these tiny dots, they're not stars, they're actual galaxies. Does anybody know the name of our galaxy that we are in at the end there? Wow, well done. The Milky Way galaxy is, so you imagine one of these tiny dots would be the Milky Way. Now, there are apparently about 100 billion galaxies. That's a lot, 100 billion. I don't know how many zeros, but that's a lot. A lot of galaxies. But then in each one of these dots, there is about 100 billion stars. So 100 billion stars in 100 billion galaxies, which to me equals billions and billions of planets that must be out there. So imagine how many planets there could be, a little bit like Earth, maybe with different people, different creatures, maybe with different scientific rules, different inventions, maybe like magic is possible. Maybe out there is the world of Star Wars, or the world of Narnia, or the world of Harley Hitch. So every time I start a story, I look up and I imagine what could be. And I imagine when I'm writing, I'm making it real. So you could do that. Next time you look up at the sky, imagine that your world is out there somewhere ready for you to invent. It's a nice starting point. So let's meet Harley Hitch and Sprocket. So I love robots, I love invention, and I wanted to create an inventive world. So I came up with this idea of Harley Hitch and her robot dog, Sprocket. Now, they live in a world called Inventia, and they live in the valley of Forgetown. Now, one of the things that I do when I write a story is, actually the first thing I do before I write any words is I get a sketch pad, I get a piece of paper a bit like this, and I'll show you how to do it in a bit. I get a piece of paper and I draw a map of the world I want to build, because drawing the map helps me work out all the places there, all the amazing sort of inventions that I could create in that world, and it brings it all to life for me, so that when I sit down to write about it, I know the world really, really well, and I know what to write about. So this is something you can try as well. So in the Valley of Forgetown, I'll point out a few places for you. Has anyone read Harley Hitch and the Iron Forest, by the way? Oh, a few of you, brilliant. So do you remember any of the places there? No, well, there's the Iron Forest. It's probably a good one to start with, isn't there? So there's the Iron Forest, and there's a map inside all the books. I love a book with a map. I hope you do too. So you get to see this in the book. So the Iron Forest, imagine your local forest, but instead of growing normal leaves and flowers and things like that, it grows mechanical parts. So you get cog ferns, and you get maybe spanners growing and nails and screws and all sorts of things like that. So Harley Hitch, who loves science and invention, she loves to go to the Iron Forest because you never know what you're going to find. In fact, in the first book, in Harley Hitch and the Iron Forest, there's a strange fungus growing in the forest and it's destroying the trees. And Harley doesn't know what it is, but she decides that she wants to do something about it and try and get rid of this horrible fungus and bring the trees back and solve it. So the Iron Forest is quite an important place. There's the Star Chatter Observatory, where you can actually talk to the stars for real. So you can go, you look through your telescope, the stars come down from the sky, and they chat to you. They've all got personalities. They love to wear very sparkly, flamboyant outfits, and they have quite diva-ish personalities, and they love to sing and things. So Harley loves to go to the Star Chatter Observatory because she likes the stars, just like I do as well. You've got the Rusty River here. At the Rusty River, you can actually fish, but not for normal fish. You fish for inspiration and for ideas. So you cast your net into the Rusty River. You wait very patiently. Harley's not always very patient. You wait, and then you catch a fish, your line goes taut, pull it in, reel your fish in, and then you stare at it. You look at it in the eyes, and you ask it for advice. And then this robot fish will give you some cryptic advice, which Harley sometimes gets a little bit wrong. But it's a great place to go. So that gives you a taste of the world of Inventia. So, as I've said, I love a robot in a story. So I thought we could have a quick little game of Name the Story Robot. So a robot's going to appear on there. What I want you to do, you don't have to put your hand up for this, just as soon as you recognise it, shout it out to me. And then after a few seconds, the next one will hopefully come up. So most of the robots I could think of come from films or TV. There's one from a book, so I should be very impressed if you think of that one. Okay, let's have a go. Well done. Do you know what I love with R2-D2? You can hear what R2-D2 is saying, even though it's just bleeping at you. Somehow you know, don't you? So R2-D2. Yeah. And what's his friend called? Eva. Who said that? Yay, well done. Eva. Who's going to be next? We've got Wally. Wally's kind of cute, rustic-looking robot. Well done. This illustration by Chris Mould there of the Iron Man, who I met Chris Mould last week, and he's a brilliant author. I saw him draw the Iron Man in front of his audience, and it was just so impressive. So if you haven't read the Iron Man, check it out. Dalek, well done, the Dalek. I used to hide behind the sofa when I was young when the Daleks came on. Scary robots. My favourite. BB-8 from Star Wars, well done. That's the last one. So BB-8 is my favourite robot. I love the way BB-8 charges when he's on a mission, head down and charges forward. So that's some of the robots that I love. So when I was writing Harley Hitch, I decided I wanted to put lots of robots into the story because I would love it. Imagine today if coming to school, you'd brought your robot pet with you. At the world in Forgetown, at Cogworks, all the children have robot pets and they bring them to school with them. So you get a great variety of different robots. So there's Sprocket, that's Harley Hitch's robot pet that she made with her grandpas. And it's got all sorts of special functions, things like a hot chocolate spout, a compartment that you can put muffins in. So when he meets her from school, imagine if your robot pet met you and that compartment opened and flipped out a nice little muffin or snack for you. So you get the robot pets. There's a robot called Primbot who would meet you at school. She's a little bit fiercer than other robots. She's a bit like the head teacher version of a robot. And if you're late for school, she would flash up on her big screen saying late. And you can see there, Harley is a little bit late, so she's not very happy with Primbot. That's one of the rusty river fish that I was telling you about. And you've got all sorts of other robots. You've got Daisy, the McCanny weather robot, who helps in Grandpa Eden's greenhouse. She can simulate sun and water the plants and things. You've got every help bot that would help you tidy your room. How handy would that be? I'd like one of them. And garden bots who do your gardening for you and things like that. So if you could have any robot pet, I wonder what you would have. I kind of know what I would have, but I want you to start thinking about what you would have, because this is one of the activities I'm going to give you to take away with you and either do back in school or in your own time. So there's things like cats, dogs, like the average pet, rabbits. Who's got a pet at home? Tell me what you've got. Yeah. A fish. Oh, a robot fish. I wonder if you'd have to take it in a tank with you to school. You might have to hold a little goldfish tank and have your robot fish inside. I love that. Yeah. 4 cats. I can imagine you walking to school with your troop of robot cats walking behind you. I love it. Let's have one at the side with a 9 badge. Is it your birthday? Happy birthday to you. A guinea pig. Oh, a little robot guinea pig walking to school. Let's have one more. Let's have right in the corner at the back. 2 cats. So, like, cats would be a really good one. Hands down for now. So, you could have bunnies. You could have tortoises. I've got a tortoise at home. But if you could have any robot pet, maybe you would go for something a bit more unusual. Maybe you'd go for a robot T-Rex. Remind me at the end. I've got a secret for you. Don't let me forget it. That relates to dinosaurs. You could have a great big bear. You could have a unicorn. You could have a little tiny snail if you wanted to. Absolutely anything. But a good way to start a story is to draw a robot pet and use that as your starting point for an adventure. So you could imagine you and your robot pet are going to go off on an adventure and write a story about it. But start first by drawing your robot pet. So I'm going to give you a really easy way to do it, because I'm not brilliant at drawing, but it doesn't mean you can't do it if you're not good at drawing. Some of you might be brilliant at drawing, so you could do this great. Actually, could I have maybe a couple of volunteers who don't mind coming up and helping me? Can we have the young lady in the lovely stripy there? Do you want to come up and help? And let's have a gentleman, young man there with the glasses. Would you like to come and help? Lovely. Oh, I forgot to say something about Harley that you might notice. So Harley Hitch in book 1 in the Iron Forest. Oh, we've got 3 helpers. 3's fine. Come up. Sorry, I didn't realise there's 2 in glasses. Come up. 3 helpers is as good as any. It's a good number. There we are. So Harley Hitch in book 1 has green hair. Harley Hitch in book 2 has blue hair because she loves to change the colour of her hair every term. It's a way she expresses her individuality. And so at the end, when I tell you that secret, I'll tell you what colour hair she has for book 2. Does any of you who doesn't mind wearing wigs want to have a try of the green wig? Yeah, lovely. Here we go. Fabulous. Look at you. And would one of you like to have the blue? Is that okay? You can swap in a minute if you want to. And make sure you have a try. The blue wig is especially wild. I'll have to get a 3rd wig. There we are. Hopefully you can see. So without the wig, you can have a little start. So I'm going to give you... We've got 3 Harleys. Should we go for purple? So we're going to draw a robot pet. When you're drawing a robot pet at home, think of the shapes you want to use. So body shapes, you want to use things like squares, cubes, rectangles, triangles, circles, spheres. Like your kind of basic shapes give a nice robotic finish. Let's do a robot fox, because I would quite like a robot fox, and it's the only one I know how to draw, so we're going to go that. But you could do whatever you like at home. So for the robot fox, firstly, we need a triangle for the face. Would you like to draw a biggish triangle pointing downwards for me? Wow. Very good. Lovely, and straight across. Fantastic. Lovely, thank you so much. For the body, we're going to have kind of a slightly rounded off rectangle. I think will work for our fox. It's also really good to add things like cogs and screws and springs and things like that to make it look more robotic. So we're going to have a cog nose. Any of you fancy drawing a cog nose? Yeah? Okay. Excellent. Go for it. You can draw a cog nose and add to it. I think we should have some spring legs, if that's okay. Yeah, spring legs. Whilst they're drawing that, I want you to think about what special powers we can give our fox, because it's our robot, and also your world, you can have any rules you want. If you want ears that can detect danger, you can have that. Anything's possible. Let's start with you. Yeah. Teleporting. What sort of part of its body will be the button for teleporting? On the head, maybe the nose or something? Teleporting, like a nose button for teleporting. Could you do like a little arrow to the nose? Just sort of an arrow like that, a line. And then we know it's got like a teleporting nose. And also, would you draw it some eyes as well? Maybe square eyes. Maybe the eyes can be screens or something. Let's have another little skill for it. Yes, young lady there. Bouncy legs. I like it. So it's going to be able to jump really high so we can leapfrog our way over buildings on the way to school. Lovely. So we're going to do a line there for bouncy legs. Yeah, just like that. You can add, when you do this at home, you can write the labels and things. And I think it needs some ears, maybe triangle ears, and maybe some wire whiskers. Would you like to do the wire whiskers? And one of you can do some triangle ears for us. And whilst we're doing that, could you, on the body, we'll add some compartments. If you do lots of little dots, it looks like there's screws and rivets and things like that. Let's give it a couple more special powers and things, yeah. Super strength, I love it. It may be in its legs, like super leg power. So we're going to have some super strength legs. This is looking good, this photo. It hasn't got a tail, though. Is there some power we can give a tail? Yeah. Yeah. Sharp, like for chopping. Spiky tail for like getting rid of enemies or chopping through forests. I like it. A spiky tail, if you could add a spiky tail as well. Fantastic. Would you like to try one of the wigs now? Are you okay? Okay, if you want to try it at the end, come up and see me and we'll do that. Lovely. Let's step back and have a little look at our lovely fox. So you can imagine that you draw any robot animal you want to, use compartments, add special powers, make it as weird and wonderful and as brilliant as you can possibly imagine. Shall we give our Harleys a big round of applause for creating a brilliant fox? Lovely. I'll take the wigs back off you because you'll get hot and sweaty. Thank you. And you can go and sit down. Thank you so much for helping. So it's a really good starting point for an adventure, to create a robot pet and imagine you're taking it on an adventure. You can add all the features, you can label them. You might have a Powerball shooter, you might have turbo legs, you might have umbrellas popping up, hot chocolate spouts, snack compartments, screens on the eyes to show emotions, like Sprocket. When Sprocket's happy, hearts appear. When he's not so happy, lightning bolts appear. So you can add all these features and then take it on an adventure. You can name your robot pet. Some of the robot pets in Harley Hitch, you've got Sprocket, Coppertail, Orc, Primbot, Daisy, and Rebellina are some of the robot names. If you think, has anyone got a name for our fox, actually? A cool foxy robot name. Let's have right in the back there.
Fox. Actually, I don't know.
Fox.
Fox. Little fox.
Oh, little fox. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I quite like that. Little fox. Maybe it's really tiny. Maybe that's its power. It's very tiny, but very powerful. I kind of like that. Hands down. Okay, so now you've got your robot pet. You can take it on an adventure. Oh, sorry, that's gone a bit funny there. Make your robot pet. Why not in the summer? Make it from recycled material. Go and raid your recycling box at home. make it, spray it in like metallic paint and do all sorts of things, and make it incredible. You could write the world and you could create the world for it to adventure in as well. So I've told you a little bit about Harley Hitch and the Iron Forest. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the next in the series, Harley Hitch and the Missing Moon. So Harley has blue hair in the Missing Moon. Again, she really wants to win Pupil of the Term. She's not won it. She still really wants to win it and she'd do anything to win it. So this term, she's being really good. She's being perfect. She's not getting anything wrong. She's doing extra homework. She's not even dyed her hair at the beginning of term. She's being perfect. So then the circus comes to town. And her best friend Cosmo says to her, Harley, come to the circus. It's going to be amazing. And Harley says, oh, do you know what, though? I'm going to do extra homework. I'm trying to be really good and get Pupil of the Term. And Cosmo says, give yourself a night off, Harley. It'll be fine. So Harley says, yeah, actually, the circus does sound pretty fantastic. Actually, imagine now you're in the circus. This tent is our circus tent. So Harley goes along. Here's the circus here. You can see it's no ordinary circus. There are giant robots. There are eagle drones that do displays. There are mirrors that show what you would look like as your robot self. And Harley goes along. There she is with her grandpas and Cosmo. And she decides she's going to have an amazing night off. And one of the acts is El Disappearo. It's the finale. You know, at the end of every show, in the big top tent, you have a finale act. And this is an amazing disappearing cabinet that teleports. Whoever you put in, they get teleported to another planet. Now, Harley thinks this looks amazing. The best invention she's ever seen in her life. So she goes along. She watches it. She sees the assistant being teleported to another planet where they fly above giant waves and giant forests, all on the screen on the front of the cabinet. Now the circus ends. Everyone claps. They go outside. There are fireworks going off, and the crowd is watching the fireworks. Harley sees this amazing cabinet being wheeled into a smaller tent and left there. And she thinks, I really want to know how that cabinet works. She's a bit curious, is our Harley. And she thinks, what harm could it do if I have a little look? Wouldn't do any harm, would it? So she sneaks into this cabinet. Cosmo says to her, I don't know if we should be doing this, Harley. And Harley says, come on, it's fine. I'm just going to open up the door, have a little look, see the mechanics of it, see what's going on. So she sneaks in and she touches the door. And then sparks start to fly. The hinges break and the door kind of falls off. Sparks are flying, smoke's billowing out, and Harley realizes she's broken this cabinet. Oops. She panics and thinks, oh, I should tell El Disappearo. I should find someone. She looks around. She can't find El Disappearo. Everyone's watching the fireworks. There's no one in the crowd for her to tell. Her grandpas are calling her to come home, and she thinks, what do I do? And then she has an idea. She thinks, do you know what? Tomorrow, I'll go to the Iron Forest and I'll get me some hinges and I'll come back, I'll mend the cabinet after school and I'll tell El Disappearo what I've done and apologise and everything will be all right. Or will it be all right? I'm going to read you a tiny bit so you have a little inkling of what is not all right after she breaks the cabinet. This is chapter 8, Time Flies. It had clearly been a full moon the night before, yet this evening there was nothing there. Swiftly, Harley ran and took her transmitter from her bag. Cosmo, are you there? After a moment, he answered, yes, I'm in bed. Sorry, did I wake you up? No, Mum insisted it was bedtime, but I'm not remotely tired. I feel as though I've only just got back from school. Cosmo, look out of your window. Harley, if you're on our driveway, don't be daft, I'm at Hitch House. Look at the sky. I'm looking. What can you see? Sky? Stars? What are you getting at, Harley? I'll rephrase it. What can't you see? After a pause, Cosmo said, Where's the moon? Wait, let me look out the window on the other side. Oh, it's not there either. Exactly. It's as though it's vanished into thin air. Harley's stomach twisted. The magician's cosmic cabinet rolled through her mind. When we were walking back after the circus, it became so dark that Grandpa Elliot tripped over. We didn't think anything of it at the time, but when we left for the circus, originally the moon was definitely there. So are you saying, Harley, that the moon's been missing since last night? Exactly. And today, so many other things have gone missing too. I just don't think it's a coincidence. Something happened yesterday evening. It was all becoming clear. The extraordinary power of the cabinet, her mishap with it. The cosmic cabinet. When I broke it, that's when things started disappearing. I think all of this is my fault. I shall leave it there for you. So Harley thinks she's made the entire moon disappear. Bless her. Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't. Maybe there's more to it. We shall find out when you read the book, hopefully. So, going back to another thing that you can do. So you've created your robot pet at home. The next thing you can do to take your robot pet on an adventure with you is to create your own inventive world. And this is a really simple thing to do. I'm going to give you an easy way to create a world for your map. All you have to do, and anyone can do this, you can do this back in your classrooms as well. So all you have to do is you get your piece of paper. It can be recycled paper, absolutely anything. You put your pen on the paper, take it for a big old wiggly walk. So wiggle your pen in and out, in and out. You can even look away. Wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it. And there, you've got an island, you've got a world. You can make more than one island. Your idea, you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to have lots of islands. Some of my books I write, I create lots of islands. Some are just one. It's entirely up to you. At first, you might be thinking, Vashti, that looks a little bit like a blob of jelly, not an island. But then all you have to do is you put your pen back on the line, go over the line, roughen it up, just make it a little bit more wiggly, a little bit more wandering, a bit more jagged. And then it will start to make it more map-like. You can look at maps in books for ideas as well. That's a really good place to start. So copy how things are drawn in it. And then all you have to do is create your own inventive world in the places that you would love to see in there. When I was creating the map for Harley, I was thinking, what would I love? I would love it if there was a Star Chatter Observatory where I could talk to the stars. I would love it if I could go fish in the Rusty River for mechanical robot fish that would give me advice. So I created all the things that I wanted to see. Now, your best ideas will come from the things that you love. So you might be like me. You might be thinking, I love invention, I love science. Or you might be thinking, I love magic and I love football. So maybe the things you're going to draw in your world will be, maybe you'll have a magical football pitch. Maybe you'll have a magic factory if you like magic. If you like dragons, perhaps you're going to have a dragon forest in your world. Or you could have metal waves, or a robot swamp, or a floating garage, or a dragon who's actually looking like a bit like a tree there. You might have a chocolate volcano. It's your world, it's your rules, and you will always write your best writing if you write about things that you love. I would suggest drawing at least 3 things. So maybe you've got your chocolate volcano, and maybe you've got your forest filled with dragons. And maybe you've got, what else we've got here? I like the robot swamp. So you've got your swamp with your robots in it. Or something like that. You will draw it much better than me. But that's a really good place to start an adventure. Then once you've drawn your island, you think, I've got my robot and me are going to have an adventure. You can think of a mystery to solve, or maybe something's gone missing, or maybe they're hunting for the last dragon egg or something. But it's a really fun way to start a story, and you'll find you've done half the hard work before you've even written any words. You can name your world, you can name the places, you can come up with all sorts of things. You could do a fact file on your world, you could create a poem, draw a picture book, absolutely anything. But it's a good way to kind of get into writing a story. Remember that thing I said, writing's not just about writing. You could create stars. These are the stars I was telling you about in Inventia. Actually, let's do a quick little game. So one of the stars, in the end of the book, you get pictures of the stars. Now, when you make up your own rules, you can add some things that are real from planet Earth and make things up. So I'm going to read some information about one of the stars. I want you to put your thumbs up for me when you think it is true. And when you think it's maybe I've made it up, kind of give me a wiggle, a thumbs down wiggle. Okay, this is Vega, one of the stars in the story. So Vega, do this in the classrooms as well. Vega is an exceptionally eye-catching star in the constellation of Lyra. Well done. He is the 5th brightest star in the night sky. In his customary blue fur coat and elaborate headdress. At around 450 million years old, true? Very old, isn't it? I feel that old some days. It may seem curious that he's actually a young star compared to our sun, which is over 4.6 billion years old. Plenty of time to practice his singing then. Maybe not. Lovely. So I think it's time for your questions. And also, at the end, remind me that secret of what's next for Harley and Sprocket in the world. So we've got a lovely roving mic, haven't we?
We have. We've got Paul over there who's going to be taking questions from the audience. I've had some questions come through from teachers across the country already, but I'm going to let you guys start because I think that's only fair, don't you? So Paul, do you want to?
How old is Harley?
Oh, so Harley, I imagine she's about in year 4 at school at the moment.
How old is the dog?
Oh, so the dog. Well, you know, lucky thing with robot dogs, they can go on as long as they like and they don't really age. No wrinkles for the robots in that world. But the dog was born when Harley was born. That's when they started making her, so the same age as Harley.
Why did you start writing?
Oh, when I was your age at school, a teacher brought in a book called Rebecca's World. And that book was about a girl who got teleported through a telescope to another planet and goes on a lovely adventure. And when the teacher was reading it, I felt like I was in the book, like I was with Rebecca, stepping into this pink fog and meeting all these weird and wonderful creatures. There was a great map in that book with riddles and everything. And that made me think, do you know what? One day, I want to give other people that feeling of teleporting them into a world. So that's when I started to write my own stories.
When did you know you wanted to be an author?
Oh, do you know, ever since when I was your age, I wanted to do it. But do you know what? I didn't always believe I could do it because I thought authors must get it right first. They must be super, super, super brainy people who, when they write their stories, they get it right first time. And then I got a bit older and I thought, do you know what? Actually, no one gets their stories right first time. And that's true. Like, no authors, we don't write it right first time. We have editors that we work with. Like, you know, you give your writing to your teachers and they help you improve it. They give you notes and things. Same for writers. We work with an editor who helps us improve our stories as well. So don't worry if you think you're someone that doesn't get things right all the time, or you're not good at maybe grammar and spelling. There's other things that make you a good storyteller. Imagination is really important. And the way you grow it is through reading books.
When did you start putting interest into books?
Sorry, say that again.
When did you start putting interest into books?
Oh, like ever since I discovered books, my interest went into books. So in my summer holidays, I would hide in my nan's garden under a tree or in a bush reading a book and just playing with ideas. Another tip for you for the summer holidays, get yourself a scrapbook and you can make your own writing journal. Draw maps, draw characters, write down your ideas and just have lots of fun with it. Collect pictures as well. Pictures are really good to inspire you.
So I'm going to do a couple of these questions have already been answered because somebody wanted to know how you created Inventure, but we went through that there. And what was your favourite book growing up? So, and how old you were when you started writing. So you guys are asking some great questions here. This one's quite a good one. There might be a few secrets in here. Are any of your characters based on anyone you know?
Well. You know, like when you read Harley Hitch, you're going to meet a character. She's called Fenelda Spigot. She's not such a nice character. She's not a great friend to Harley. They were friends once, but then there was a competition to create the biggest cogflower. And Harley's was the biggest, and Fenelda accused her of cheating and using her grandpa's supergrow formula to make it bigger, which Harley didn't cheat. So they fell out. So Fenelda has become her nemesis in the world. Now, when I was at school, I won't name this person because that's a bit mean, but there was a person who was a bit mean in the class. And so I kind of had her in mind when I was writing Fenelda Spigot. But do you know what? The thing I love about Harley is she will stand up to the bullies. She will stand up to the people that aren't being very nice. She's the sort of friend that you would love to have. I would have loved her as a friend at school because she is not afraid to call people out and say, do you know what? That's not nice. That's not kind. You can't do that. And she's a lot of fun to be with as well. So, yeah.
So you already mentioned this a little bit. Will there be another book in the series?
Secret time. A secret going out to 7,000 people. Don't tell my publisher. But, so I've just finished writing the first draft, the first version of Harley's next adventure, and it's called Harley Hitch and the Fossil Mystery. I'll tell you a tiny bit about it. So, I've always wanted a dinosaur in a story, and this is my big chance for a dinosaur. So Harley, they go on a school trip to Inventia Jurassic Coast. There's a new professor, Professor Anning, at the school, and they are looking for fossils. Harley finds a huge fossil, and it's very unusual because it's got 6 toes, and they don't know what dinosaur it comes from because they've never heard of a 6-toed dinosaur. So Harley decides when there's a competition at school to create your best invention, she thinks, being ambitious, why don't I invent time travel? I'll go back. I'll find this dinosaur and I'll get proof and I'll see it in real life. But being Harley, things don't go well. Things don't go to plan. She can't quite get her machine to work. And instead of going back in time, she sets off a time quake and accidentally brings things from history into Inventia. So you may or may not get a dinosaur appearing in Inventia. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to write. So that'll be out next January.
Wow.
Oh, I must mention, actually, in case you don't ask me, the illustrations. Yes. I don't do the illustrations. They're created by someone called George Ermos, who lives in Leeds. He's a brilliant illustrator. And so I write the story, it goes to him, and he comes up with the visuals for it. So if you love stories and you love art, that might be something you might want to think about.
Now, remember, that was a huge secret. So all you 7,000 people and all you people in this room, that's just 7,000 and, a couple of hundred. So, okay?
You look trustworthy.
Why do you like robots so much?
Do you know what? I keep thinking that. I think it's the possibility of robots. I love imagining what could be. Maybe it's because I like making up my own rules to things, and I like playing with the intelligence of robots, like AI and things like that. Really interesting. I think because, those pictures I showed you from when I was younger, there was a lot of robots around when I was growing up, so it made it something that maybe was just something I fell in love with early. So I always think you tend to put the things you love into your stories. Is there anything you love that you'd like to put in stories? Football. You write it. You write your best football adventure with robots versus humans.
When is your new book going to come out?
Hold on. Are you a robot? Because that sounded very robotic.
When is your new book going to come out?
So January. So not long at all. So that's about, 6-7 months away?
How long have you been an author?
I have been an author. So I guess I've been a writer since I was your age, but my first book came out, I think it was about 6 years ago now. So yeah, I did other jobs in between, but all the time it was my dream to be a writer. So I thought I'm quite tenacious, so I just thought I'm just going to keep going until I do it and write my best stories and see what happens. So if you've got a dream, don't give up on it. Keep focused on it, work hard, and who knows.
This is a really important question. What's your favourite biscuit?
Oh my gosh, all of the above? Is that, the other day I had a really nice Percy Pig jammy Dodger thing that was strawberry.
Percy Pig jammy Dodger?
Yeah, it was good. Marks and Spencer's, yeah. Yeah, that was really nice. But a chocolate hobnob is good. Bourbons, also good. Custard creams,
we have a big thing in our office that there's somebody who really hates bourbon biscuits, and it's a big controversy. There's a huge, yeah.
But they're very good dunkers, aren't they?
Yeah, it splits.
Hands up if you're a dunker of your biscuits. Yay for Dunker Crew.
I think we've got time for one more question, so think really, 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 really hard. Make it a good one.
Another robot.
Yeah.
What's the colour of the new book's hair?
Oh, thank you. Brilliant last question. So, do you want to have a guess? No, we've had green. Yes! Well done! Woo! You are a robot because you foresee the future or something. Well done. Yeah, purple I've gone for. But having said that, do you know what? These things can sometimes change. If the colour doesn't quite suit the colours of the cover or something, it could change. But I've gone for purple. Maybe you could think about what I should have next after purple.
I actually think I might be Harley Hitch because when I got married, my hair was green and blue and purple. So I was all those three colours. So I think I might be Harley Hitch.
I think in the finale, if I get to the end of the series and I have a final Harley book, she would definitely go
all of them. Just
full rainbow.
Rainbow.
Or silver or something, or gold.
Yeah, something shimmery and glittery. Yeah.
But do you know what? You are all welcome at Cogworks anytime. You would all fit right in as brilliant young people who I think are going to have a lot of fun with Harley. So thank you so much for your brilliant questions. Thank you for joining me today. And teachers, if you've ever want to connect with me on social media and the kids have got questions and your schools have got accounts, just tag me and I always try and get back and answer you. And I love to see what you're doing. Or if you want to do any book reviews and things like that, then that's lovely as well. Oh, Harley Hitch is on the Summer Reading Challenge.
Oh, brilliant.
You know the libraries. So some of you know. So the theme is gadgeteers, I think. So Harley Hitch and the Iron Forest is on the summer reading. So if you read that, I don't know what you get for each read, a stamp or something or other, but that's on there. So if you don't know about it, ask your teachers and they can let you know.
That's fantastic news. And any of you who've bought a book today, because we've got them all waiting for you outside, that's going to make it extra special, isn't it? That you've got a book signed by Vashti to read whilst you're doing your summer reading challenge. That was amazing. There were some incredible questions there, and you did some amazing listening, and you did some amazing interacting. I liked seeing all of our Harleys up here with their lovely wigs on. Thank you. I'm sure you are all just so excited now about reading Harley Hitch. But I think we all want to say a huge, huge thank you to Vashti, don't we? Should we give her a big round of applause? And shall we say a big goodbye to everybody in the schools who's listening? 1, 2, 3. Bye! Okay, we'll see you all soon. We're about to turn off the live stream, so thank you very much. Goodbye.